Hi, Adam, and welcome to We Got Your Mac. I know we actually finished season one, but we've decided to have a bonus episode because you and Kevin took delivery of your Vision Pro a few days ago.
We sure did. It's been quite an experience, but definitely something exciting and new, and happy and excited to talk about it here.
So before we get into the detail, do you just want to explain who you are and what you do here at SHI?
So Adam Reiser, Senior Director of End User Compute here at SHI. So I manage all of the pre-sales, support teams, and subject matter experts in all things end user device and long tail. So Apple being one of my premier and top partners here in Pertinent, but definitely have the long tail of all the other major OEMs as well.
So obviously very busy person. So we appreciate you being here and joining us. Now, I can see you on my screen.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely knew it was you when you turned up, but there's something slightly ghostly about you around the edges. It's not creepy, but it's not quite real.
Yeah, it's a super easy setup process too. It looks pretty real. I mean, I can see myself. You see my eyes darting in the top right. I can see myself up there, and definitely looks, pretty accurate. I'm very, very impressed in how reactive it is, how it captures the motion very well. Even my hands, like moving around, it captures it really fluidly and naturally. It's pretty impressive.
What does it feel like to be inside there? I mean, my biggest thing looking at you is like, hey, if I was doing this on a podcast, wouldn't have to put on my makeup every time. I could just do it when I created the persona.
That's true.
And after that, don't have to worry about clothes, makeup, hair, any of the rest of it. But obviously, there's a lot more to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that a lot of people are quite skeptical about potential business use of Vision Pro, but that's what you're using it for, right?
Yeah, we're definitely working towards developing more business use cases here. I mean, that's kind of the intent as we dive into it, me and Kevin, and working with Apple directly to try to develop what that kind of enterprise level usage of this will be. There's tons of application. I do think, to your point, the ease of kind of just putting it on and jumping into a Teams call and having the kind of persona built out and looking professional. It makes that a lot simpler in early in the day. But there's definitely a lot of application I can even see from a business perspective, especially people who are very busy, have a lot of screens going on at once. I can have you in front of me here. I have my emails over here to my right, my text messages over here, or you have your some sort of video or web surfing browser open too. So and it's all right there in the environment of my office, right? And it's pretty interesting. Like I can have my text messages are floating right next to my cup of coffee over there on my desk. So it's definitely a little busy. It's a lot to get used to get immersed into the first time, but it starts to feel very natural very quick. Then the motions and the captures and clicking with and using your eyes to highlight to things to click on. It's a very short learning curve to get there.
Yeah, and what you're describing certainly seems a lot less hassle than my 2 different desks and 5 different monitors, and I'm not even going to mention how many devices I have.
Right.
As I try to do all of that multitasking and manage all of those different things that I'm doing. From the way you're moving, it sounds or it looks as though all of that is much more accessible to you, and you're not having to try and work out where something is, or you're not moving yourself around the room. You can bring what you need close to you as and when you need to.
That's totally accurate. And you can have kind of a full 360 view, and like there can be things behind me up and I can kind of just spin around in my chair and see a whole different, monitor and view, and maybe a spreadsheet's open back there and I got a PowerPoint over here or a Keynote open and running. So yeah, you can kind of have a full 360 view and in the center of your office and have, just kind of turn and look at what you want. Whatever you're looking at is what's going to be highlighted and active, and you can start interacting with it. So yeah, you don't have to be super mobile and like some of the competitive products to the Vision Pro, where you have to have a full free range of space and 6 feet in every direction and worry about bumping into anything. But you still have a ton of workspace around me to do a ton of multitasking.
People have commented on things like the battery pack and the weight of that, but I guess if you're sitting down and using it as a workspace, or standing and using it as a workspace and not having to move around, that's not as much of an issue as it
Yeah,
would
and the battery
be.
pack isn't really. I mean, it's heavy, but it's really no bigger than than an iPhone. So right now it's in my pocket, and connected to me. And if I can feel free to roam around because I can see the environment in full color and vision, just like I'd be walking around without it on. So if I did need to navigate downstairs to get something and not have to take it off, I could easily do that. And the battery pack is just in my pocket. The battery life is great. I have had no issues with that so far, but if you do need to plug it in and use it while it's connected to the wall and charging, super easy to do as well because you can still get full use of the device while sitting in stationary. So it's really not as big of a burden from the battery perspective at all.
That's good to know, but there's clearly there's an opportunity there for somebody to start thinking about more pockets for women in their clothes.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because if we're going to have a battery pack, we're going to
That's
need
fair. That's
pockets.
very fair. But yeah, you're definitely tethered to the battery. But it's really it looks weird at first, for sure. When you're putting it together and kind of unboxing and opening it up, you kind of get that feel of like this external battery that clips in. And but again, it's another thing that just kind of feels naturally very quickly, and it's really I don't even notice that it's connected and in my pocket.
One of the things that's really interesting about having this conversation with you is I knew that Kevin was going to be a massive fan of this and it was going to be all positive even before he'd taken it out of the box. But you were actually much more skeptical about it, weren't you?
I was. I was. Given the nature of some of the other devices that are in that kind of VR AR spatial computing space that I've used in the past, I just didn't. I didn't quite expect the level of usage that I would get out of it, and how impressive and how easily and natural it really feels. And outside of business cases, some of the entertainment stuff, watching movies on it, it's really really awesome. You just get fully engrossed in this environment and quickly and naturally. But I was definitely skeptical. I thought it was going to be a little lame. To be very blunt, but I was sold pretty quickly, and I'm back in. I really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to working to build more use cases for it with Apple.
Yeah. Well, it certainly sounds as though it's going to make long flights more bearable then if you can put that on and not be in a small metal box.
I'm flying next week. I'm going to bring it with me for sure. But it's people are going to look a little crazy at first, but people will get used to it just like we did everything else. But it should make that more bearable. I'm going to put some movies on there and see how it goes, and see if I can get that flight, to Texas feel a little quicker.
A few years ago, I went to a conference where people were talking about spatial computing,
Mm-hmm.
not just VR and AR. And at the time, it was quite a difficult concept to get your head around. And I was staying with friends afterwards, and the 13-year-old said to me, so, one day, will we not need to have a device in our hand to look something up? Will we just be able to kind of reach out into space and touch stuff there? And parents were saying, no, of course not. You'll always need your iPad or your iPhone. And I said, well, actually, it sounds like maybe that is going to be the future, that actually the internet will appear around you in your environment. And it sounds like this is that step towards it.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, literally, I'm sitting in my office and my computer is here to my right, and you're on a big screen to my left, just kind of floating in the middle of the room. And that's exactly what it's like. And yeah, we're definitely there. And being able to kind of just reach out and type in what I want to do when I want to type. You don't have to use the look to type and things like that. So you can kind of just type in the air and pull up whatever it is you want to look up. So yeah, we're right there. Whatever your 13-year-old friend for sure. We're here. That's exactly what it's like.
Sounds amazing. Can't wait for it to be slightly lighter weight and slightly more accessible.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely a little heavy on the eyes, for sure. It does feel natural. It's not uncomfortable, but it is a little heavy. The future iterations, I can see Apple always gets slimmer and smaller. I'm excited to see where they take this one, but definitely immersive, and exciting so far.
Well, it sounds like it's not just going to be fun for you to use. It sounds like it's actually going to really help you to be more effective in the way that you work. So I'm really pleased that it's exceeded your expectations.
By far. I was very skeptical, and but yeah, I was sold very quickly. It's far exceeded, and yeah, you're right. I'm just the learning curve of it all and how to use and navigate through it was very, very quick to learn. And now it's diving into, what can I actually do better and faster on this than just sitting on a laptop with a connected monitor, right? There's certainly going to be some applications to that. I think even presenting, it makes it a lot more natural because I can have my speaker notes right here on the left, and it's just, I could see that being, if I'm doing a presentation to a group of folks, that even doing it this way would be more impactful for me and for the audience. So I definitely see a ton of different options here for us to take this forward.
Well, I'm definitely gonna start putting together the business case for Vision Pro for We Got Your Mac. By
There
the
you go.
sounds of it, it would be a very good solution. So thank you so much for joining us. Really
Of course.
appreciate you taking the time. Thank you to the audience for listening. And if you want any more information, if you want to see any of the previous episodes, then visit wegotyourmac.com. If you have any ideas or suggestions for what you'd like to see in future episodes, then you can email us on wegotyourmac@shi.com.